Acadia is on. This was tentatively scheduled for 1:30 in court hearing. I'm getting you a JE right now.
Thank you. So, Mr. Douglas, I'm going to grant the motion that the public defender filed to withdraw as your counsel. I normally like standby counsel to assist with rules and to make sure you follow the proper format. For example, you have the one motion to discharge counsel, and you did say you want to represent yourself. Instead of Ferret Nelson, did you mean Garrett versus Nelson?
Nelson Heron, whichever one to discharge counsel, because I ain't want public defenders represent me no more.
So your motion to hire a private investigator has got to go through administration.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they haven't answered yet. I'm sure they will.
I haven't requested it yet.
One way or another. And then you indicated that you don't believe the state has sufficient evidence to establish probable cause to arrest you. And you would need to, if that's the case, as it relates to probable cause, you may wish to file what's called a motion to suppress. But before you do that, you would have to either write a letter of requesting discovery or a motion for discovery. And then when the prosecutor responds, they would do the same with you. So I know that under the rules of criminal procedure have to give the prosecutor 2 weeks from their date that they knew to answer or file answers to your motions, but I'm granting some of your motions, so they're not going to need to answer these 2 motions. You asked that the court rule on all your motions. So you wanted to discharge counsel and represent yourself pro se, and the judge, I think the magistrate in question, which was Joe Dowling, did say he didn't see why you couldn't. You can't say I'm indigent and asking the clerks to give 1 copy to all parties. That if you want to represent yourself, then you've got to do that work. You cannot ask the clerk to do it.
Okay.
So if you were indigent, you have to go through an attorney. If you wanted like everything handled by the court, they won't just, you have to label everything. You have to have the copies ready, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why sometimes it was good to have what's called standby counsel, but you're not interested in standby counsel, right?
Right, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because standby counsel could be somebody that's privately appointed, somebody that has his own law practice outside of the public defender's office, and the court sometimes hires in case of conflicts. I don't know if you're interested in that.
No, ma'am.
Not at all?
No, not at all. This case won't take that long, ma'am. Like you said, just file the proper motions for the C4 motion to dismiss. And it'll say the taxpayers a lot of time and money.
The other thing is, you asked the courts, you said pro se motion request courts to docket their rules in writing with the clerk of courts.
Yes.
They're already in writing. You
no.
just got to use the computer to look them up.
It's not with the clerks.
I'm sorry, say it again?
I checked with the clerks, and none of the rulings that the judges have made prior to today is with the clerk of courts. Even the motions that I filed is not even with the clerk of courts. So that's why I just asked the courts to make sure the clerks have it in writing so I can get a copy, your rulings in writing, that way I can have a copy and it'll be with the clerks on the docket.
Well, one of the issues, Sarah, was, and I apologize for this, your file, I held it to look up the case you were referencing, and I didn't find it. I found something else that seemed similar. And then I actually, unfortunately, held your file for this week.
Okay.
And I didn't send it down to my journalizer to type it up in the clerk's office. But yes, you will see it in the record.
All right, ma'am.
So the other one that you asked, let's see, you said You want all continuances charged to the state. That's not how this works. Every time that, if you want discovery, full discovery as to why they're saying this. So you may want the body camera, for example, or you may want any 911 call, or you may want any photos that were taken, or you may want a police report as they laid it out. You may want some of that information, because if you go in front of a jury and don't have that information, you could be surprised at trial, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So it would behoove you to file a motion for discovery.
We
Unless
did.
you don't want that. You want to review and inspect the state's evidence for discovery. You got to motion them.
I
And
did.
video and audio footage and photos. This is not late. I mean, you are putting more than one. Every single different request really has to go on its, you can put 2 or 3 in one, but you're saying you're motioning the court to be placed on the calendar to rule on all your motions. Well, I'm not saying that I won't rule on all of them. It's just we do them one at a time. And I don't have any problem with you reviewing and inspecting the state's evidence. And you did provide, in my understanding, your email, which is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, it's howarddays67@gmail.com, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So like Howard University spelling, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then day spelled as within hours, minutes, days. And then the numeral 67
Yes.
at Gmail. So you have to, it looks like, by the way, Mr. Burns, that this second page did not make the clerk of court. Somebody missed putting it in here. So what I'm going to do is copy it and send it down to, I guess, to probation, to the clerks to, can I want to, yeah, both but separately. In other words, the clerk did not Xerox and the second side, so. And actually, we can probably do this one too. And then, only because it doesn't show up, sir. So here's what happened. One of the clerks, maybe it was a new person, when you file a motion, they scan it into the computer so everyone can read it. Well, this person did not see your second side.
Okay.
So that's why the prosecutor did not know that he needed to respond. I know that you are requesting in writing that he respond to discovery. You have to technically formally do, there's sample motions online if you look them up. A motion for discovery is in fact, you might find that on the clerk of court's website. Thank you. And can I get that last one? Yeah. So I'm going to ask, what I'm going to do is ask the clerk to scan through all 3 pages, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. All right, so, okay. So I am going to motion to withdraw as counsel granted. And I'm going to put filed by public defender. So there's a separate motion filed by her, and then motion to represent self granted. Now, your motion for discovery, as I said, I have to send this on through to the probation department. I'm sorry, the clerk's office.
Okay.
So do you understand what I mean about formally filing a motion for discovery?
Yes, file it appropriately so the state can say that they received it in the appropriate manner so they can respond to it in the appropriate manner by giving it to me. Yes, I do.
That is correct. And then as to the second, let's see, so you want all discovery sent to you, so you wanted the body cam photos, 911 calls, anything like that, all video and audio.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you're asking for one of the things that the bailiff does, sir, just so you know, is keep order in the court. That's his job. So I was not present. I do not know exactly what occurred on the date in question when Magistrate Dowling was listening to your case. But as it turns out, I do think that without knowing your situation, Mr. Volker, just anytime, for example, let me give you, anytime somebody's outside and there's a lot of noise of cars going by, he automatically mutes the person.
Okay.
Or anytime somebody's carrying on without it being their turn, same thing. So if there was an issue, or if you, for some reason, were rude to him, I'm sure he would have muted you. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the system we have now. If you don't want that to ever happen, then my advice would be to come down in person, only because that's the only way I could prevent that. And that's why I sometimes tell people, if you really need to, especially if you, you're going to be able to get this off your computer, correct?
I didn't hear you. What you say, ma'am?
Are you going to be able to get all of the discovery through a computer? Like you're able to open anything?
I don't have a computer. I was going to go to the state attorney's office and pick it up there and inspect it at the same time.
Watch it at some point on a computer is my guess. I'm not saying that you can't get it, much of it physically, but a video, how do you watch a video unless you're watching it on a DVD player in your TV or on a computer, or, there's many ways to do that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I am not saying that you can't proceed that way. I just know that it's going to be tough to go forward without. So as it relates to this, sir, I'm gonna, Mr. Burns, how much time do you need for discovery?
For discovery, we actually exchange discovery for individuals who are representing themselves at the pretrial in court. So we'll meet in front of you and hand discovery on the record. So we actually don't have people come into our offices. We go down and meet, or up, I keep saying down, we go up to the 12th floor in court during in-person hearing and exchange discovery then.
Can you come in person at certain days, sir?
Well, Your Honor, I'm in a medical facility because I'm in a wheelchair. I can't walk, and it's my doctor's advice to stay in the bed. But if the state want me to come back down there any day they choose, I will pick up discovery.
I have a question. Can somebody pick it up in his stead? I don't know, Mr. Burns. If he has a relative, can that person pick it up?
Your Honor, it would be the same. We would request for that exchange to happen on the record.
What facility are you in, sir?
Well, I left University Hospital, and they put me at 2100 to transfer me to another more medical facility. But I'm on 21st Street in like what's this? I guess Euclid or something. So I'm not too far from the
Lakeside?
courthouse.
All right. Are you able to wheel yourself down or get someone to help you wheel in?
Yes, ma'am.
And is your condition something that is life-threatening?
No, I can make it down there with small difficulties, but whatever time and date that the state is ready to give me discovery, I can make it there, even if it's
Okay,
tomorrow.
you can tell I didn't want you coming down if like you had COVID or something that's really serious.
No, it's not that serious.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that you're in a wheelchair to start. Number two, I am going to, let's see, I granted this. And I indicated that the administration to consider the appointment of private investigator the last time you were here. Did you want, do you know how to file a jury demand? We have forms that you could do that if you were going to come in person.
The public
Okay.
the public defenders, when they was representing